Marked by the Underworld, Part 1. The Wounded Alpha. Rain had a way of making the city feel lonelier. The streets outside were drowning in neon lights, police sirens, and blood that disappeared too quickly beneath the storm. In this part of the city, people learned early not to ask questions, especially when the underworld was involved. And tonight, the underworld was hunting someone. Adrian Voss. People feared his name long before they ever saw his face. The heir to the Voss syndicate. An alpha powerful enough to silence rooms without raising his voice. Men disappeared because of him. Rival gangs avoided eye contact with him. Even the police preferred pretending he didn't exist. But tonight, Adrian Voss was bleeding. His black dress shirt was soaked dark with blood as he stumbled through the rain alone. One hand pressed tightly against the gunshot wound at his side, the other dragging against alley walls just to stay standing. He looked less like a king of the underworld tonight, and more like a man seconds away from collapsing. Far beneath the city streets, hidden behind an old metal door most people never noticed, Noah Vale was finishing another quiet night inside his underground clinic. The room smelled faintly of antiseptic and cigarette, smoke drifting in from outside vents. Medical tools rested neatly beside dim yellow lamps. The storm rattled the small windows overhead. Noah liked nights like this. The rain made the city quieter, safer. Then suddenly, the clinic door slammed open hard enough to shake the walls. Noah looked up instantly and froze. A tall man staggered inside covered in blood. For a second, the entire room became unbearably heavy. Not because of the wound, not because of the rain, because of the alpha standing in front of him. Even injured, Adrian Voss carried danger like it belonged to him. His sharp eyes lifted slowly toward Noah, dark with exhaustion, but still terrifyingly aware. Help me. Not desperate, not weak, just cold enough to sound like an order even while dying. Noah recognized him immediately. Everyone did. And maybe that was the moment he should have walked away. Normal people would have. But Noah had spent too long patching up broken people to turn someone away now. Even someone like Adrian Voss. So instead of running, Noah stepped closer. That seemed to surprise Adrian more than the pain did. Noah carefully helped him toward the treatment table. But the moment his hand touched Adrian's arm, a strong grip suddenly locked around his wrist. Instantly, dangerously fast. Noah's breath caught. Adrian stared directly at him now. Eyes narrowed slightly despite the blood loss. You're an Omega. The words landed quietly between them. Noah immediately pulled his sleeve down, farther hiding the scent blockers wrapped against his skin. That has nothing to do with this. For the first time since entering the clinic, Adrian almost smiled. Almost. Then the pain hit him harder. His grip loosened just enough for Noah to push him back onto the table. If you keep moving, Noah said calmly while reaching for medical supplies, you're going to die. Silence followed. Not tense silence. Observing silence. The kind that felt heavier somehow. Rain crashed endlessly outside while Noah cleaned the wound carefully. Adrian never looked away from him. Once most wounded men talked too much when they were afraid. Dorian said nothing at all. And somehow that felt worse. Noah stitched the wound slowly, focused entirely on keeping the alpha alive despite the intimidating presence filling the tiny clinic. Then finally, you are not scared of me? Noah glanced up briefly. Should I be? Adrian didn't answer immediately. Maybe because nobody had ever asked him that before. Noah finished wrapping fresh bandages around his side before stepping back slightly. You were lucky tonight, he said softly. Another inch and the bullet would have hit something vital. Adrian sat up carefully, still bleeding slightly, still dangerous, but quieter now. Then headlights suddenly flashed through the rain-covered windows outside. Multiple cars. The atmosphere changed instantly. Adrian noticed first, and whatever softness had briefly appeared in his expression disappeared immediately. His eyes turned cold again. Ruthless. The man people feared returned all at once. Noah looked toward the clinic entrance nervously. You brought trouble here. Outside, car doors slammed shut one after another. Heavy footsteps approached through the storm. Weapons clicked. Voices echoed faintly outside the alley. Rival syndicate members. They found him. Adrian slowly stood despite the injury, adjusting the blood-soaked black shirt hanging from his shoulders. Then he looked at Noah. Really looked at him. And his next words came low and controlled. Stay behind me. Noah's heartbeat quickened without permission, because for the first time that night, he understood why the entire city feared Adrian Voss, and maybe more dangerously, why part of him no longer wanted to run. If this part pulled you into their world, tell me what moment stayed with you most. Was it the moment Noah chose to help him, the way Adrian immediately noticed he was an Omega, or the final moment when Adrian told him to stay behind him? Sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones who make us feel safest when everything starts falling apart. Marked by the Underworld. Part 2. You touched me. The city still smelled like rain the next morning. Cold air drifted through the narrow streets while people moved carefully beneath grey skies, pretending the violence of the night before had never happened. That was how this city survived, by ignoring blood until it dried. But inside the Voss penthouse overlooking the skyline, Adrian Voss had not slept once. Not after the clinic. Not after him. The wound in his side still burned beneath fresh bandages, but it wasn't the pain keeping him awake. It was the memory of soft hands pressing against his skin without fear. An Omega who looked him directly in the eyes and told him not to die. That had never happened before, and Adrian hated how much he kept thinking about it. Across the room, one of his men stood waiting nervously. "We searched the area," the man reported carefully. "The clinic was already empty by morning." Of course it was. Someone smart enough to survive underground medicine wouldn't stay in one place after treating Adrian Voss. Still, something dark shifted in Adrian's expression. "Find him." The room fell silent. The bodyguard hesitated slightly. "Boss, all we know is he's an Omega." Adrian's gaze lifted slowly, cold enough to freeze the room. "Then search harder." No one spoke after that, because everyone in the underworld understood one thing. When Adrian Voss wanted something, the city eventually handed it over, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, across town, Noah Vale was trying very hard not to panic. The underground clinic had been abandoned before sunrise. Medical supplies were packed into boxes beside a tiny apartment, hidden above an old bookstore. No one visited anymore. Noah moved quietly through the room, trying to ignore the constant feeling that someone was watching him. Because this was exactly why he stayed away from mafia syndicates. People around them disappeared, and now Adrian Voss knew his face. That alone was dangerous enough. Noah exhaled slowly while organizing medicine bottles across the counter. He told himself the Alpha would forget him eventually. Men like Adrian didn't become attached to people, especially not Omegas. But deep down, Noah already knew something felt wrong about that thought. A sudden knock echoed through the apartment. Noah froze instantly. Nobody should have known he was here. Slowly, carefully, he reached beneath the counter for the small handgun hidden there. Another knock followed. Calm, patient. Not police, not panic, something worse. Noah moved toward the door cautiously before opening it just enough to see outside. Then his heartbeat stopped. Adrian Voss stood in the hallway. Black coat, dark eyes, bandages still hidden beneath expensive clothing, alive, and looking directly at him. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Rainwater still clung faintly to Adrian's hair as though the storm had followed him here. Finally, Noah found his voice. "How did you find me?" Adrian answered simply. "You touched me." Noah frowned slightly. "That doesn't explain anything." For a second, Adrian looked strangely frustrated with himself, like he didn't fully understand the answer either. Then his gaze lowered briefly toward Noah's wrist, where faint bruises from the night before still remained from Adrian grabbing him to heart. Something unreadable passed through Adrian's expression after noticing them. "Did I do that?" Noah instinctively hit his arm. "It's fine." But Adrian kept staring at the bruises anyway, and somehow that silence felt heavier than anger. Noah stepped back from the doorway slowly. "You shouldn't be here." Adrian's eyes lifted again. "And yet you still open the door." That answer settled between them quietly, dangerously. Noah hated how calm this Alpha made him feel despite everything he knew about him. Adrian stepped inside only after Noah moved aside slightly. Not forceful, not demanding, but the room instantly felt smaller with him in it. His presence filled every corner too easily. Noah crossed his arms carefully. "If rival syndicates followed you here, I'm dead." "They didn't." "You sound very sure." "I am." The confidence in his voice should have been terrifying. Instead, Noah noticed something else. Exhaustion. Adrian looked tired beneath all the control. Not physically, emotionally. Like carrying the weight of the underworld had slowly hollowed something out inside him years ago. Noah looked away first. That wound should still be resting. Adrian's gaze stayed on him. "So should you." Silence. Quiet settled into the apartment again while rain tapped softly against the windows. Then Adrian spoke without warning. "Why didn't you fear me?" Noah blinked slightly. "What?" "Everyone fears me." The words sounded strangely empty, not arrogant, just factual. Noah looked at him for a long moment before answering honestly. "I think you wanted me to." Adrian froze, and for the first time since Noah met him, the feared Alpha of the underworld looked genuinely affected by something small and human. Noah immediately regretted saying it out loud. But Adrian didn't get angry, didn't threaten him. Instead, he stepped closer slowly, close enough for Noah to feel the warmth beneath the expensive coat hiding fresh bandages. Then quietly, "You're dangerous for someone who looks at me like that." Noah's breathing caught slightly. because somehow that sounded less like a warning and more like the beginning of something neither of them could stop anymore. If this part stayed with you, tell me what moment affected you most. Was it Adrian searching the city for Noah? The moment Noah opened the door anyway, or Adrian admitting everyone fears him? Sometimes the scariest thing isn't violence. Sometimes it's realizing someone dangerous is starting to care about you. Marked by the Underworld. Part 3. Protected by a monster. Noah should have known peace would not last long around Adrian Voss. Men like him carried danger everywhere they went. Even silence felt dangerous beside him. 3 days after Adrian found the apartment above the bookstore, the city began whispering again. Not about shootings, not about rival syndicates, about Adrian himself. People noticed changes in the underworld before they noticed changes in weather. And lately, the most feared alpha in the city had been acting differently. He disappeared at strange hours. Meetings ended early. Several rival businesses connected to a hidden underground clinic were suddenly burned to the ground overnight. No one understood why. Only Adrian knew. Someone had been searching for Noah, and Adrian Voss did not tolerate people touching what he considered his. Even he hadn't realized how dangerous that thought was becoming. That evening, Noah stayed late at a temporary clinic hidden beneath an abandoned restaurant downtown. A young man with knife wounds sat quietly nearby while Noah stitched him up beneath dim lights. You should stop doing underground work, the injured man muttered weakly. This city's getting worse. Noah gave a faint smile. This city was never safe. The man laughed softly before leaving a few minutes later. Then the clinic became quiet again. Too quiet. Noah slowly looked up from cleaning medical tools. Something felt wrong. A sudden crash echoed upstairs. Heavy footsteps followed immediately after. More than one person. Noah's chest tightened. Not police. Not patients. He reached beneath the counter for the handgun again, just as voices drifted downstairs. There's the doctor. Noah's blood ran cold. 3 men stepped into the underground room wearing dark suits marked with the insignia of a rival syndicate. One of them smiled coldly. Boss wants to know why Adrian Voss suddenly cares so much about an Omega doctor. Noah forced himself to stay calm even while his heartbeat screamed at him to run. I don't know what you're talking about. The tallest man walked closer slowly. You saved his life. That was a mistake. No, the man replied softly. The mistake was surviving long enough for Adrian to become interested in you. Noah's grip tightened around the hidden gun beneath the counter. The atmosphere became unbearably tense. Then suddenly, gunshots exploded upstairs. All 3 men froze. More shots followed. Screams, heavy bodies collapsing, and then silence. Terrifying silence. The rival syndicate men exchanged nervous looks immediately, because they recognized that kind of silence. Violence had already happened. Fast, professional, deadly. One man reached for his weapon. Too late. The underground clinic door swung open hard. Adrian Voss walked in, black coat soaked from rain. Blood splattered faintly across one sleeve. Cold eyes locked onto the men instantly. And somehow, the room became even colder. Noah stopped breathing for a second, because Adrian didn't look angry. He looked calm. That was worse. One of the rival men tried speaking first. Boss, listen. The gunshot cut him off instantly. The body hit the floor seconds later. Noah flinched. The remaining men panicked immediately, pulling weapons. But Adrian moved first. Too fast. Too precise. The fight lasted less than 20 seconds. Then silence returned again. Only rain could be heard above the building now. Noah stood frozen behind the counter while Adrian slowly lowered the gun. Blood dripped quietly onto the concrete floor. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Adrian finally looked at Noah. His expression changed immediately. Softer, not by much, but enough for Noah to notice. You're hurt? Noah blinked slightly, surprised those were the first words out of his mouth. I am fine. Adrian stepped closer anyway, eyes scanning him carefully for injuries. That should not have affected Noah the way it did. But after witnessing the violence upstairs, the fact Adrian still looked at him gently felt strangely overwhelming. Noah swallowed quietly. You killed them, Adrian answered without hesitation. They came for you. As if that explained everything. Maybe in Adrian's world, it did. Noah stared at him for a long moment before speaking softly. You really are a monster. Silence. Adrian didn't deny it. Didn't defend himself. Instead, he looked at Noah with an expression almost impossible to read beneath the dim lights. Then quietly, but you're still standing near me. That answer settled heavily between them, because Noah realized something terrifying in that moment. Despite everything he had just seen, he still wasn't afraid enough to walk away. Tell me honestly, did Adrian scare you more in this part? Or did the way he immediately checked if Noah was hurt change something for you? Sometimes the most dangerous people show love in the only way they know how. by destroying anything that tries to take you from them. Marked by the Underworld, Part 4. The Mark. The rain had not stopped for 3 days. Neither had Adrian Voss. Adrian Voss stayed in the shadows of the city, but now every movement he made felt calculated, almost restless. Because the image of one person refused to leave his mind. Noah Vale, the Omega who did not fear him. The Omega who looked at him like he was just a man bleeding on a table. And that was the problem. Not the bullet wounds, not the rival syndicates. Something inside Adrian had already shifted. Noah, however, tried to pretend nothing had changed. He still worked at the hidden clinic, still treated patients who came in at night and left before sunrise, still told himself that what happened with Adrian was just survival. But the city does not forget, and neither does the underworld. People began watching him, following him, testing how close they could get before Adrian Voss would notice. Because now everyone understood one thing. Noah was not just an Omega doctor anymore. He was connected to the most dangerous man in the city. That night, the trap was already set. Noah realized too late when the clinic door closed behind him and locked automatically. Too quiet, too controlled, not an accident. 3 voices came from the dark corners of the room. You heal the Alpha Voss. Noah froze. You should not have done that. A slow step forward, then another. You belong to something much bigger now. Noah's hand moved slowly toward the drawer beneath the counter, but before he could reach it, a gun clicked behind him. At that exact moment, far across the city, Adrian stopped walking. He didn't know why, but something in his chest tightened sharply, like a warning, like instinct, like possession. And then, he moved. Back at the clinic, Noah's breath shook for the first time, not because of fear, because he finally understood something. This was not a robbery. This was a message, and he was the message. The door exploded open. Cold air rushed in, and then silence broke instantly. The men turned. Too late. Adrian Voss stood in the doorway. No hesitation. No words. Just presence. The room changed immediately. Pressure filled every corner. The men stepped back instinctively, because they understood what had just arrived. A monster they could not control. Adrian didn't look at them first. He looked at Noah. Only Noah. Checking him in one glance. Alive. Unhurt. Still there. Something in his expression softened for a fraction of a second, then disappeared. You touched him, Adrian said quietly. It wasn't a question. It was a verdict. What followed was not a fight. It was a correction. Fast. Silent. Final. When it ended, the room was empty except for rain and breathing. Noah stood frozen behind the counter. Adrian slowly lowered his coat, adjusting it as if nothing had happened. Then he walked toward Noah, step by step, until there was no space left between them. You keep getting involved in things you shouldn't, Adrian said. Noah swallowed. I didn't ask for any of this. A pause. Then Adrian replied quietly. I know. That answer made Noah freeze, because it wasn't anger. It wasn't control. It was something worse. Understanding. Adrian lifted his hand slowly. Noah didn't move away this time. Fingers brushed lightly near his collarbone where a faint scent mark from stress had begun to surface. Adrian noticed, and his expression darkened slightly. Not with anger, with focus. Like something inside him had just confirmed a truth. This, Adrian said softly, is the mark. Noah frowned. What mark? Adrian looked at him for a long moment, then answered. Mine. Marked by the underworld. Part 5. Stay alive for me. The city was burning quietly, not with fire, with consequences. Every syndicate now knew Noah Vale's name. Every rival wanted leverage. Every hunter wanted access. And every one of them made the same mistake. They thought Adrian Voss would hesitate. Adrian Voss did not hesitate. Not anymore, because something had changed inside him. Something irreversible. Noah Vale was no longer just a witness to the underworld. He was now inside it, dragged deeper every day without permission. And tonight, there was no hiding place left. The attack came at dawn. Multiple syndicates. Coordinated. No warnings. No escape routes. Just steel and intention. The safe house now was moved to collapse within minutes. And for the first time, Adrian did not arrive first. Noah was grabbed before he could run. A hand over his mouth. A blade at his throat. Voices close. You're the reason he's unstable. Let's see what happens when we take you away. Noah struggled once, then stopped, because he understood something very clearly. They were not after money. They were after Adrian. And then, the silence broke. A single gunshot outside. Then another. Then everything stopped again. Like the world itself was holding its breath. The door opened, and Adrian walked in, covered in blood, breathing controlled, eyes locked only on Noah. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Adrian spoke, calm, almost gentle. Let him go. The men laughed. You think you can still control this? Adrian's gaze darkened. No, he replied. I already lost control. What happened next was not loud. It was absolute. And when it ended, there was nothing left standing between them, except silence and rain. Noah stood shaking slightly as Adrian approached him. This time, Adrian didn't check for wounds. He just stood there, as if afraid to move too fast. You should have stayed away from me, Adrian said quietly. Noah looked up. And you should have left me alone. A pause. Then Noah added, but you didn't. Something cracked inside Adrian's expression. Not pain, not anger. Something closer to surrender. He stepped closer, this time slower, careful, human. And when he finally spoke, his voice was quieter than anything Noah had ever heard from him. If I let you go now, a pause, you will die without me. Noah didn't answer immediately, because he understood the truth in it. Not as fear, as reality. So instead, Noah asked, what do you want from me? Adrian didn't hesitate this time. I want you to stay alive. A beat, then softer. For me. And in that moment, Noah finally understood the real danger was not the mafia. It was the fact that Adrian Voss was no longer asking for obedience. He was asking for presence. If you've been with me from the beginning of this journey, thank you for staying through every moment of Marked by the Underworld. If you want to see what happens next between Adrian Voss and Noah Vale, don't forget to like, share, and follow or subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next part. It really helps support the story and keeps the channel growing, and it lets me know you want more.